this is something that I've become very used to seeing.
Welcome back to the channel, viewers. We're still in the van.
Domestic bliss.
Well, most of the time. And we moved back further north to the Alps to enjoy just 2 more classic rides to share with you. The Col du Grand Colombier and the Mont du Chat. But not before we take a look at one more beautifully quiet ride, for the sake of comparison. At the beginning of these last few videos, I mentioned that we would show you a few lesser known rides in Provence and would be trying to decide whether these lovely quiet roads are actually better than some of the very popular Tour de France climbs. So here we go, stick around and enjoy the riding. So before we head back to the Alps, let's have a look around rural France once more. We start from a village called Belmont Tramonet, and I called this ride the Tour de l'Église due to the very pretty churches we encountered en route. Here's the Strava stats, and you'll see that this ride took us just over 3 hours.
Bad life, bad day, what should I do?
Another beautiful morning in France. 3-4 miles into a 40-mile route.
That's a lot of churches.
There's 5-foot lithe.
Let's move on now
Training for MasterChef.
to another Alpine Tour de France classic.
Training. I'm a pro.
After wanting a beer, that's gone to her head.
This was one heck of a climb, and we managed to do some of it twice. Welcome to the Mont du Chat and the beautiful Lac du Bourget. Don't miss an opportunity to take a swim in this beautiful lake after busting a lung on this next climb. Let's go! After riding around the lake, we leave the charming town of Bourget-du-Lac and then grind our way up this consistently steep climb. As you're about to discover, it was quite a tough one.
Just set off on the ride, Aix-les-Bains and then Col du Chat. Got the lake section first. Cool morning, but the clouds starting to lift. We promised 25 degrees today. I'm going to be over there somewhere, but it just hasn't cleared yet to see the summit. Mont du Chat, 13 kilometres, and this is mostly at 10%, so this is going to be interesting. Just setting off, cloud clearing on the hill, starting to warm up. Yeah, a little further up the hill. the lake just through there. We just make out the mast up in the mist. I think that's where we're headed. The ridge line up there. There we go. Mont du Chat. That's where we're headed, that mast up there. Oh, it's just clearing out the mist. Look at the view of the lake there. First kilometre down. 7%. Next section.
It's a brutal climb straight uphill out of the town, and more brutal climbing up through the forest.
There's a view just coming through there. Look at that.
After climbing brutally for over 4 kilometres,
Spectacular.
events took, shall we say, a more interesting turn.
Sweeping bends.
When Dave realised that he had left his rucksack containing food, clothing and also the van keys in the cafe we had just left.
And back in the trees. Quite a bit of gravel from the last couple of days' heavy rain.
So down we went to retrieve it, and back up we had to climb.
Deja vu all over again. On the way back up the hill again. After discovered I left the rucksack at the cafe. So either Sue or I left the rucksack. One of us. Well, it's either me or you. I don't, 50-50, isn't it?
I wasn't cross, really. But finally, after much more puffing and panting than usual, we gained the summit of Mont du Chat with its colourful artwork. And trust me, the view of Mont Blanc from the Summit Cafe is worth every bead of sweat.
We've reached the summit, Mont du Chat. Looking down on the lake. And the Bourget and the Lac. And over in the far distance is Mont Blanc and the Mont Blanc range. Just zoom you in. There you go, that's Mont Blanc. Zoom in all the way back out. Fantastic view from up here. So what did you think of that?
I'll leave you to decide which you think is the most appropriate response.
Maybe not that. Maybe not that bit. It's wobbly.
That's what she said. That's not laughing. We got a bonus 3 kilometres there. We leaving the rucksack behind, didn't we?
No real harm was inflicted during the making, viewers, and our route back to the lake was utterly charming. For our next ride, we start from Culoz, also from the shores of the beautiful Lac du Bourget. We put together a 30-odd mile circuit, visiting the summit of the Col du Grand Colombier. The climb itself is just under 18 kilometres at an average gradient of 7.2%. So let's go!
The Col de Grand Colombier, looming up there somewhere. Oh, look at the view down there. See where we were yesterday. Mont du Chat. Culoz in the bottom. Lac du Bourget. And here we go. Around the hairpins. Many kilometres to go. Where we're headed. On the last 1k to the summit. Give you a little 180. There's Mont Blanc in the distance again. So yesterday, the views are pretty awesome here. 5 foot light going strong at the top. Still smiling, like me.
Smiling and snotted. Get the name of the photographer on the film.
Ness photography, wasn't it?
We didn't film the descent due to the fact that our chosen route down was appallingly dangerous. The very steep zigzags down through the forest were greasy and littered with fallen rocks and stones. We were both gripping on for dear life. So I'll leave it here whilst we risk our necks on that descent. Here follows a summary of our chosen routes over the last few weeks and whether we feel that the more popular Tour de France climbs are worth the traffic compared to those lovely quiet roads in Provence.
Quite a storm.
But first, let me thank you all for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the riding, the views, and a bit of comic violence. Please do subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying the videos. We'll be back on foot soon, so until then, cheerio! Okay, so as promised, here's our ranking of the rides you've seen us complete over the last few weeks. I've categorised them in terms of their popularity and therefore how busy we found the roads to be, and how quiet the rides were, with little or no traffic. Needless to say, those marked popular comprise the classics, whereas those marked quiet are usually, but not always, the lesser known climbs. At the top of the list for me are first Col du Glandon and second Col de la Croix du Fer. Whilst popular, the views were outstanding and the climbs challenging in terms of gradient and distance. Next, ranked third, is Mont Ventoux. This is an absolute classic, but I only include this when ridden with the Gorge de la Nesque, otherwise it comes in at a disappointing 10 out of 14 due to the traffic and extensive forest blocking the view for the first 2/3 of the ride. In 4th, 5th and 6th place respectively, and I found it very difficult to separate these since they were all excellent, are the beautiful quiet roads in Provence. 4th place, Col de la Fromagère, or Col de Pomerol. 5th, Col de Roustan, and 6th, Col de la Croix Rouge and Col d'Aille. Outstandingly smooth, sweeping roads, beautiful views, and barely a car in sight throughout. In 7th place comes the popular Mont du Chat. This was a challenging climb, almost all in the red, and the summit view of Mont Blanc is absolutely superb. In 8th place, I'm choosing Col du Noyer. Another beautiful ride with stacks of hairpins, rugged cliff faces, and a historic finish at Napoleon's Refuge. The downside was its popularity and the relatively short distance. 9th is Col de Grand Colombier, a stunning summit view of Mont Blanc, a popular route, and an absolutely beautiful final kilometre. However, the descent was truly awful, unless you choose to descend by the route of ascent, which I'm never keen to do. 10th, as mentioned before, comes the Ventoux, when ridden from Bedouin through the forest. In 11th place is Col d'Ornon, which we rode straight after the Alpes d'Huez. It's a lovely quiet ride, but short in distance and easy in ascent. Better to couple with Alpes d'Huez, as we did. 12th place is our Tour de l'Église from Belmont Tramonet. Beautiful quiet roads, but not terribly challenging, with only one short climb to Roquefort. 13th place is Col de la Forclaz and Lac Annecy. Whilst Annecy itself is absolutely gorgeous, the ride round the lake is horribly overcrowded and bordering on dangerous, with every bicycle-shaped object you can imagine present. The Col de la Forclaz is a fairly short ascent, which I didn't get terribly excited about, though we did ride this under cover of cloud. which leaves in final place the iconic Alpes d'Huez. Such a shame, but we found this climb, whilst challenging enough, to be terribly busy. We must have breathed in a scary amount of traffic fumes and couldn't hear ourselves speak much of the time for traffic noise. In addition, the summit wasn't particularly obvious. So in conclusion, it would seem, for me anyway, that the classics are not always the best. I just loved the sweeping bends, quiet roads and beautiful scenery of Provence. But I'd say that the classics are still well worth the effort. Despite being disappointed by Alpes d'Huez, Mont Ventoux via Gorge de la Nesque, Col de Glandon and Col de la Croix de Fer were absolutely fantastic, and I'd definitely ride them again. This is the end of our cycling on the continent for now, but please stay tuned for a bit more exploration in this beautiful part of the world. Bye for now!